welcome back to Weeks' Woodshop. So haven't made any videos in a while, going over some injuries, possibly going to get some shoulder replacement, hopefully not too soon because it's shot, and then my ankle. So no excuses, got to keep the videos going. So we're gonna, nothing but a good cortisone shot on both of them will help me get through this. So all right, HM130Max Woodland Mills, my new toy. We're gonna do our best right now. I got a piece of hemlock in there about 8 feet, a little over 8 feet long. I'm gonna make a beam out of it. Try to get a 6x6, 10-inch beam or 10-inch log. It's got a little bit of a banana curve into it, so it's a little bit tapered too. So I'll show you how I raise the other end to get that center level with everything. We're just gonna make some as many of the straight logs that I can find, or that size. I'm making beams because I'm either gonna do a fence or we're gonna build a lean-to over this bad boy. So I need some really good support stuff. So I changed the blade, I got everything set up. Let's go over this and we'll see what it can do in action. All right, here she is. So a little bit of stats on this. I got a 14 horse Kohler on there. The guy bought it, I got this used. Actually got it out of Canada, so kind of a neat trip. There was another story to that, but I'm not even gonna get into it. So, but pretty set up. If you look, he's got it on, he had it on it is on a trailer. So it's a portable mill. And I'm gonna end up putting another extension back here. So I ordered it and got it. So this will do 10 feet. I'm gonna be able to do another 6.5 feet. So I can do 16 feet beams or logs as soon as I get that extension on here. But I'm gonna build these beams up here, or bigger than those, and then use the supports and come back. So you can just back this up to it. So another neat thing that he did is right here. This is a battery, you can shut the battery down. So when it sits for a while, like during the winter or you know, a certain period of time, this battery isn't being drained. So pretty nice little feature. So now that's active. Great motor, electric start, pull start too for backup. Over here we got your throttle. This is all manual operated. So the throttle operates the lubrication system, and that's where that water comes out right there to lubricate the blade, and then it comes up from there and it goes up to that tank right there. We got our tension, and it just shows easy peasy, proper tension, no tension. So when it sits, you put no tension on the blade. So, and then it's got a nice cover for it. There's your depth gauge. So, and then here's your manual for up and down. Pretty simple, a big pulley system. All right, so here is the trailer. So check that thing out. This thing, it's got jacks all the way around. It's heavy duty. This thing, I mean, we could put a house on it. So the neat thing about it is I can take this places, and we've got ramps that are built in, and then there's a winch system on the other side. Oh man, I'm going too fast here. So we can pull up the logs. I cheat and I use that right now. So that's the to me the easiest way. But it's got jacks in all four corners, so we can get this thing level. And then we'll look from this side. There's the hitch on the front, and then this side right here. So here's the log that I was going to go after. You can see it's just bent just a little bit. So all right, let's show you how I leveled this thing out. All right, so the other side of the log, this one is 10 by 10, just perfect. And the other side is a little bigger, so it's 11 by 10. And the way I set it on this bed, so it would be perfectly flat, I didn't want it curved to make the first curve cut. It was off a little bit. So if you lay just a piece of wood as a reference and use the same piece, on the other side, when I measured the center of this log, it was right at 8 inches. So as you can see, I just used a car jack and I put a 4x4 underneath there, and all I did was to bring this center up until it was 8 inches from this bed, and then the same as that side. So then double check both, because that one on the other end probably won't raise up, but this one came out and it's now perfectly at, from there to the center, 8 inches. So So our first cut. Now, biggest thing in the world is watching out for those side supports. So, and they're adjustable, but you want them up as high as you can for the best support. So, but you just got to watch out. So our first cut is probably only going to be maybe an inch. Yeah, maybe an inch at the most. Inch, 2 inches. We could probably get 2 inches out of there. Let's see what we can do. Sun glare. Here is how it clamps to the log. There's one there, and there's one there. So another thing too is those can't be as high. And you want to try to stay in the center, so those press up, you know, pretty flat against the center of the log anyway. So they press pretty flat and evenly. And then once the flats start getting cut on there, that's even more important. But we can put little cookies, like wood cookies in there, and then those spikes won't dig in into the finished part of it. So, but I wanted to show that. All adjustable, and it slides on these rails. So if you have a bigger log, you can just, you know, fit that in there. And then there's the other one. And it's all manual. Just get up there, tighten it up, and activate it. And we're good to go. All right, let's start this thing up. Okay, super simple. Make sure the gas is on right here. I always like to choke it first. I warmed it up earlier, but it probably doesn't need a choke. And then here's your starter. We'll listen to see how loud this is. That ain't nothing. Once the RPMs pick up, it gets a lot louder, but this is fantastic. Good old 4-stroke. Sweet. All right, now that that's running, I'm gonna lower this down and we're gonna make our first cut. So I got a stool here because sometimes I can't reach it. So let's get the blade down, and then we'll see what position we can get with maybe a 2-inch cut. That's a good spot. We'll leave it there. That'll clear everything that's in the path. And let's see if I can get a good view when we make a cut. Got so excited, I almost didn't mention the blade. All right, we're good to go. Okay, not too bad. Let's see if we can sweep this off. Oh yeah, that's a good clean cut. That's a sawdust. All right. inches across. Got it exactly 8 inches on the other side. So I'm going to flip this 180 and we're going to get looks like we'll go for 6 inches. Yeah, perfect. We'll probably do a 6x8. So later on, I know it's not the whatever dimension, common dimension or whatever, but later on, after this dries, because this is still pretty fresh wood, I'll flip that up and then we'll just cut like 2x4s or something from that. And that will be all set. Or I could use it for a post, who knows. All right, let's take it back. Let's flip it over. Should be our final cut. We got to lower those stanchions, but we're going to measure the middle from that board down there. So this is what I was talking about. This was the bigger end, and center is 5.5. Let's go down to the other end. And center is 5.5. All right. So now this will be a perfectly flat cut on this one, and then we'll probably try to go at least 6. So we'll go down to there. We could do 7, but we'll do 6. So that's a good spot. So let's get it down to that spot. On the money. All right, I'm gonna go, because this is a wet log, I'm gonna go probably a 1/4 inch higher, thicker, because of shrinkage. So when this thing dries, it'll probably lose that much. So let's put that back up just a little. Wrong way. There's 1/4. There, that's perfect. All right, one more check. I know this is boring. There we go. So that's 6 1/4. We can always mill more off later, but let's make this. Oh, I'm gonna adjust those stanchions and then clamp it down and not bore you anymore. All right, let's see what happens. All right, for these bad boys, whoops, I just kicked the camera. Hopefully you can still see, okay. For these guys, all we gotta do is take them out now, because we have a flat. So if you notice this lip, and always get your debris off of there, this log will go right up against that lip now, because we have a flat. So that's perfect enough to hold it. So I'll do that to the other side too. guys can hear me. Look at that. Nice little one. Love it. All right, now we got to flip it at a 90. And this is where it gets crucial. Get your cant square. All right, so remember those big long stanchions we had? I undid this. Man, you can feel how wet this wood still is. So you got to slide this over, and we got these shorties. This side goes towards this way, so it's a stopper, so it can't go in. But now you can just put those in there, tighten them down, and I like to go at least halfway, because then we know that's a pretty good. Actually, I'm sorry, it's gonna have to go a little higher than that. So about right there. So we got that one going, and then we'll do this one. And then a good cheat is to mark inches on here, and then you get a good reference. I didn't do that yet, so I will. But I'll just eyeball this right now so we can get this flipped. All right, so now I'm gonna stand it on end and push it up against this. Go. That one side's touching down there, and then this side's touching right there. Make sure it's good and square, so that is flush and flush both sides. So let's flip it over, and I'll show you how I clamp this cleanly against this clean wood. All right, earlier I was talking about cookies, which are these. So all it is a piece of the limb that on the log that I had cut off to make it flush, or better, I don't know how to say it. You want as much or less things protruding out of the log to make it easy to mount up here. So these are basically like knots. So what I gotta do, if I was to put this up here, hopefully you can see this, and if I was to punch this in, this sharp piece, now you can get different flat things for these, but this one didn't come with it. That could just puncture that wood. So now, you don't want it too high, and all you want to do, open that up. Hopefully you guys can see this. Put that cookie in there, tighten this bad boy, and tighten this down, and perfect. Now we'll check how plumb it is on the other side. If it stayed plumb, it's good. If not, you just use it for an adjustment. I'll get the other one clamped, and we'll make another cut. All right, for this cut, all I'm going to do is make it as clean as possible. This thing, as you see down there, it's kind of raised. It's not perfectly straight, so I'm going to take off as much of, and I'm right down to it, of that bark to make it as clean as possible. So let's see how this works. flip this over and we'll make one final cut. Well, the wind picked up. It's putting dust everywhere. So I looked at it already and I could tell that I screwed up, but I don't know where I screwed up. So if you look at it right, that. I was going for a trapezoid look or shape. So that side's, so what I did find out is this and this is parallel and this is parallel. So somewhere down the line, I may have clamped it too hard. I may have, I don't know. But I think I could fix it. I bet if I shim it and then measure it and do whatever. But I'm okay with it. So I use it as a nice post or a nice beam. Or, you know what? I got an idea. I'm gonna go grab that last piece we cut. I brought the dial verniers down. I want to see just how accurate this is. All right, let's put this on there. Hope you guys can see this. Let's do this live. We'll measure this side. We'll get the dial verniers out. Clean that up. We are at 208 thousandths. 208. All right, let's flip it around. Let's see what the other side is. I still can't believe how nice this board is. That was, what did we say, 208? And this one will be 211 thousandths. 12 thousandths. That's a 4 thousandths difference on a piece of wood with a mill. Woodland Mills, holy cow. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I don't have to worry about that too much. Just have to worry about trying to get my beams, squared up. My cant's squared, so I'm sure I made some mistakes, but we'll figure it out. But that is 4 thousandths difference. Holy cow. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll edit this as best I can. Like and subscribe for Weech's Wood Shop. You're gonna see some more of this. We got some carvings coming up. I'm back in the saddle, so weather's nice. Let's see what we can do.